One thing that I've noticed, and I've been in education now 15 years, is that the key to making money in real estate is really about timing. It's all about timing. Everything that we do is timing. Really, all of these strategies, it's not right or wrong, it's just at the right time. And so that's what happens most of the time that I see. I see a lot of people get into real estate and they're doing it wrong. And it's not that the thing they're doing is wrong. They're doing the wrong strategy in the wrong order and at the wrong time. And so one thing that I like to talk about a lot with my students is all of this is developmental. Now, what do you think that means? Real estate is developmental.
Building your skills.
Yeah, you're building skills, and that process is developmental, meaning you start where you're at, you build on that foundation. It's a stepping stone, right? Like I started out in Metro Detroit, wholesaling $5,000 and $10,000 houses. That's where I started. But I built on it over 20 years to where I am today. So it's all developmental. Bill had mentioned this thing I talk about called the speed of money. And I want to take a minute and talk about this, the speed of money. There's different ways to earn money in real estate and really any way. And there's fast speed money, there's medium speed money, and there's slow speed money. Fast speed money would be like in 30 days, meaning I do something today, I put in an effort, I do some work, and I see the results of that in 30 days. So like my deal I explained in the very beginning was a great example, right? I talk to a seller, I contract a property, I find a buyer, I sign my contract. That total time, by the way, I've never seen this property. I've just had these conversations back and forth, maybe a couple hours total into that deal to make $20,000. So I do some work today, and by the end of the month, I've got $20,000 in my bank account. That's pretty cool, isn't it? In fact, every successful business has to have fast speed money. It's got to be in the equation. You have to be able to create that income every single month that will propel you to do all of the things that you need to do. Okay, having a padded bank account solves a lot of problems, doesn't it? Having money in the bank, that solves a lot of problems. It gives you the lifestyle you want. It allows you to do the things you want, go the places you want to do, give to the causes that you care about. It solves a lot of problems. Fast speed money has to be in the equation. Everyone needs to do a self-inventory right now. Are you generating fast speed money in your business, in your life? Doesn't have to be real estate necessarily. Are you generating that fast speed money? With my students and my partners, we have a rule, or I tell them, I don't want to be looking at medium speed money, which we'll get to in a second, or slow speed money, until we're generating $100,000 a month in fast speed money. $100,000 a month, $1 million a year. At that point in time, let's go do some cool stuff. But until then, until we have that dialed in, and I call this our printing press or ATM machine, right? I want to be generating fast speed money so that I can now do all these other amazing things. And by the way, that's typically wholesaling and real estate. And the skill set you need to do fast speed money is generally marketing and sales. Why is marketing and sales probably the top skill to generate fast speed money? The skill set to find a deal, resell it quickly in 30 days. The marketing is what's going to allow you to get in front of deals, and sales is your ability to close those deals. Know how to talk to a seller, know how to talk to a buyer, know how to put a deal together. That's all marketing and sales skills. So when you get good and you develop really good marketing and sales, you're now a really good deal maker, right? That's deal making is the skill set, and that's marketing and sales. Knowing how to identify a deal, knowing how to put that deal together, knowing how to sell that deal, that's the skill set in really any business, I think, to do the fast speed. So if you want to get better at fast speed money, develop marketing and sales skills. Okay, so medium speed money, what would that look like? Well, that's a little bit slower, where maybe it's 6 to 12 months. For me, this is now a fix and flip. This is where I would buy it, I would add value, doing improvements, and then resell it for a profit. I have a development project that in Phoenix, Arizona, I do some luxury there in Scottsdale, and we bought a lot in Paradise Valley, multi-million-dollar area. I bought this lot for $1 million. We tore the house down. We got an architect. We made plans for this 8,000 square foot house. We got the permit, which took some time. This whole process of getting from lot to shovel ready took me about 9 months or so. I had a builder approach me and say, I've got a client, they want a house, they love these plans. We'll buy this right now and I sold it to them for about $2 million. I made almost $1 million, a little less than $1 million, flipping my shovel-ready lot. Now, that was what I would call medium speed because it took me about 12 months to do that deal. I could have stayed in it and built the house and sold it, which I do that sometimes, but I ended up just selling it at that point in the game. Okay, so medium speed is great because you can get these big chunks of money if you do it right. So for example, I've got a flip right now. I bought it for $500. We put $100,000 into it. So I'm all in for $600. Took me 30 days to do the rehab, so fairly cosmetic. And then we sold it for $805. And after I net out all the things, I make $160,000 I made on that deal. And it was a fairly quick turnaround. That was about 4 or 5 months total in the deal. So I like that type of deal because it's these chunks of money that come in, every 6 to 12 months. And then we have slow speed money. What is slow speed money? Most people in real estate think of rentals. You're going to be in this deal long term, and you're going to try to make cash flow over time. So it's the mailbox money that's coming in. There's other benefits, right? I know you guys talk about appreciation, depreciation, and things like that, tax benefit. There's all those benefits. But just as far as the money goes, the slow speed would be that cash flow that you're trying to make. Now, again, remember a minute ago how I said people get things in the wrong order? How could you get all screwed up here with the speed of money? What would you do wrong to screw this all up that a lot of people do? Okay, you said it. Start with slow. Don't have fast speed money coming in, don't have medium speed money coming in, and you go right to the slow. Now, there's nothing wrong with going to the slow speed money. What's the problem about it? The wrong order, the wrong timing is the problem with it. Now, how many people do you know that get this timing all messed up? How many of you have gotten this timing all messed up? How many of you read the Purple Bible, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and thought, I'm going to go get a bunch of rentals. That's what I should do. Most people, right? That's what we think. Most people who get into real estate think, I need to go get a bunch of passive income rentals. In wholesale real estate, we do marketing to motivated sellers. And guess what my favorite motivated seller is? Tired landlords. It's a whole class of seller that we call tired landlords. Now, what's a tired landlord? Somebody that got into slow speed and realized, I just bought myself a nightmare. A tired landlord is typically 5 to 10 rentals. That's what they bought, 5 to 10 rentals. They're a couple years in. They're operating it poorly, so they're usually self-managing, or they don't know what they're doing. They do it all wrong, so that's part of the problem. And they get burned out from tenants, toilets, and turnover. And then they become what? A motivated seller. I am sick and tired of these rentals. I want them out of my life. And they call Jerry, and Jerry buys them way below market value and then flips them, right? When I say that there's a class of these, I mean, this is something that we target thousands and hundreds of thousands of tired landlords. We directly market to them. And we say, hey, how's it going with that rental? Oh, you want to shoot yourself in the head? Well, we'll buy it from you. And it's not that the rental is wrong, it's that they just weren't ready for it. So what did they think when they bought those rentals? Financial freedom. My cash flow is going to exceed my living expenses, and I'm going to be financially free. Who's bought into that? Okay, what is the reality of owning rentals? It's not passive. Thank you. Can we all agree that it's not passive? For the most part. I mean, I'm generalizing. It's not passive. Why is it not passive? You guys want to know the day I realized that it wasn't passive? I had a rental property, single family. I had a tenant that was on Section 8. What's Section 8? It's subsidized, vendored by the state. I got my paycheck in my account on the first of the month, every single month. It was the most beautiful thing. I didn't have to collect from the tenant. They were in my property for 2 years straight. Never once late because the state paid it. And I cash flowed after all my things, mortgage, property taxes, insurance, all the things. My cash flow was $500 a month on a little single family house in Detroit, Michigan. And I thought, this is it. Like, if I could get 100 of these, I would be set for life, right? And so I'm collecting. So about $6,000 a year, $12,000 in 2 years in net cash flow. Then the tenant decides to leave. Tenant leaves, I go in the property. Because they're Section 8, they don't have a job, so they're in the house all day. Guess what it needs? It needs remodeled. It needs carpet and paint and a bunch of things fixed. So I spend $15,000 to fix it back up so I could rent it again. And a light bulb went off in my head and I said, this is a scam. I've been lied to. What am I doing? Now, guys, I'm very controversial about this, so I know some people are sitting there going, yeah, Jerry, you're not seeing the whole picture. There's a lot of other benefits, and they don't all go like that. But my point with this is it's not passive, and any cash flow that property makes should go where? Who said I heard reserve? Into your rainy day account for when? For when it needs a new furnace, for when it needs a new roof, for when a tenant destroys it and you have to renovate it all over again. The money that you earn is not going into your personal living expenses, is it? Not for a long time, at least. Okay, it's got to go into a rainy day account so that you have the cash for reinvesting in the property. My point with this isn't that rentals are bad. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that let's have our eyes wide open about what we're doing here. Let's be super aware and have self-awareness about the model. So here's what I suggest. This is just my opinion. You don't have to follow this. This makes a lot of sense to me. Tell me if this resonates with you. But I think in the beginning of your journey, if you're new into real estate, year one, or the beginning, doesn't have to be year one, but the beginning, phase one, let's call it, should be all focused on fast speed money. You should learn the fundamentals of real estate. You should learn how to transact. You should learn marketing and sales. You should know how to identify a good deal, how to identify a buyer. The skills you learn doing fast speed money is going to set you up for all the other things. I think it should be 100% of your focus should be fast speed money, no medium speed money, and no slow speed money. Now, let's say year two or phase two, when you're ready, it doesn't have to be year two, but when you've got that dialed in, and what's the benchmark that I said earlier? $100,000 a month. Now, it doesn't have to be 100, it could be 50, but you get the point, right? Like you're transacting consistently and you're generating that fast speed money. At that point, maybe take on a little bit of medium speed money. Don't go all in, don't go full go at medium speed money. Keep the fast speed money. Maybe 80% of what you're doing is that fast speed money. It's still the primary focus. I call that your pay bills money, right? This is your pay bills money. It funds your lifestyle, funds all the things that matter. And then you take on 20%, let's say, medium speed. Maybe 1 out of 10 deals, you do a flip, something like that. You're still not touching slow speed yet. Why? It's not the right time yet. It's just a timing thing, that's all. And then maybe year 3, you go 70 fast, 20 medium, and 10 slow. What would it look like over time? What would the transition start to become? Less active, more passive. A little less active, a little more passive. And you're making that transition slowly, carefully, methodically. Not taking your eye off the ball that money's got to be coming in here to do all the things. Everybody with me? Is this making sense? Okay, now people skip grades, so I'm not saying this is like the only way to do it, but I'm just saying developmentally, this makes a lot of sense. The first two, fast and medium speed, are transactional in nature, right? You're going to do something, you're going to either wholesale it where you don't do anything, you just found a good deal, pass it off, leave a bunch of meat on the bone for the next person, or you're going to do medium speed, which is usually buy it, own it, fund it, add value in some way and resell it for more. But both fast and medium are transactional in nature. Slow speed is where we start to move into the passive idea, right? Where I do something once and it keeps making money. And rentals are not the only one. That's why I'm talking about lending as another way to generate that passive income. Possibly a better way, something to consider, that's all. I'm trying to maybe open up a different viewpoint of all of this. But why is everyone in this room excited about slow speed money? Like, what is it that's so enticing? Lifestyle, because what you think will happen is if I generate enough slow speed money, I can take a step back, I can have my time. Isn't it really time? Isn't the greatest asset any of us could ever acquire time? Because if I have my time and the money's coming in, but I have my time, isn't that real financial freedom? Yeah, like who would agree with me that you could have all the money in the world, but if you leave the house at dark and you get home at dark, the big house doesn't really mean anything anymore, does it? Because you have no time? The whole point here is, okay, well, what am I doing to create a business that is going to ultimately give me the time? Because once I own my time, now I'm truly free. So going back to this, I think the priority needs to be the printing press. Any one of you right now could get started wholesaling with zero money, and I could show you how to generate deals in 30 days that pay you $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. It's pretty cool. In fact, I don't know another business model that can generate that kind of money that quickly with no investment. To get into this and become a finder and generate that really fast speed money, what's great about it is there's a very low barrier to entry. And why is there a low barrier to entry to become a finder? You don't need money for the most part. You're not owning it, you're not buying it, you're not funding it. So we take capital out of the equation. What else do we take out of the equation? Operations. Well, yeah, risk, because you're not owning it. So whenever you own something, you inherently take on a bunch of risk, right? Because now it's titles in your name. That's now an asset that you're liable for, right? But a finder doesn't. They don't take on that liability. They don't take on that risk. They don't have to raise capital for the most part. And then they don't also have to operate. So they don't have to learn operational skills. So it's a very low barrier to entry.